Micah, but is my
Welcome to the
signature
lifestyle
covered?
segment brought to you by HoloCrunch. From ports being shut down to airports being closed, the Nigerian Labour Congress have been busy with their strike, which took place all over the country. We will be discussing the issues surrounding the NLC and TUC strike and its recent suspension. Joining us to discuss this, we have Benson Upa, who is the head of information and public affairs for the NLC. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you back on the show.
Thank you so much.
And we also have joining us Chief Suleiman Ibrahim, the Saki Intellijo of Michika local government area. Good morning and welcome back to the
Good
show.
morning, Didi.
It's good to have you back. All right, so let's go straight into it. Could you just give us an overview of the strike, that has rocked the nation for the past week so far?
Well, the strike has happened and has been suspended on the intervention of the National Security Advisor, Malam Nuhu Aribadu, AIG retired, or DIG retired. The strike was made inevitable first by the behavior of the Imo State government that observed in breach agreements it reached with organized labor in 2021, and the non-continuous payment of thousands of workers and pensioners their entitlements, and the declaration of these very workers as ghost workers, because what it was doing was that it would pay a batch this month. In the next 2-3 months, it will pay another batch, and wait for some time before paying another batch, because the governor had this tendency of not paying the workers all at once. I think he had the mindset of setting a specific sum of money that he committed to payment of wages. And that money apparently has not been enough. So he would declare some ghost workers and said, okay, wait and clear them as a waiting game. While you go through the process of clearance and so on and so forth, 3-4 months must have passed. And then he will declare others, another group, So, then in addition, to that trickery, he wanted specific individuals to be executives of our own councils in the state. From state to state, we have executive councils, from chairperson to secretary to treasurer and the rest. And the governor wanted to interfere in those elections, even for someone whose tenure had expired. And we said, no, this is not the way to go about it. This runs contrary to the provisions of the body of our labor law, that unions should be allowed to run their affairs in a free and unfettered manner, but within the ambit of the law. The governor insisted that he must produce the chairperson in the council, he must produce so person, and so on and so forth. And he was quietly advised behind the scene, if that is what you want, then do it through a process that is fair. Okay? Meaning, if you're able to convince workers from behind the scene and they vote for the person, fine. But for you to say, this is the person I want, if not, there shall be no whatever. So the governor, once we said he could not appoint a set of executives for us, what he did was he polarized the council. He took pampered or overwhelmed a certain category of workers and said, these are members of his own executive, while Congress has its own member of executives. I recall during May Day, when our true representatives, the executives recognized by us, were holding their May Day, the governor sent thugs and policemen to smash up their May Day, had them beaten up and all of that. So he instilled a reign of terror as far as organized labor was concerned. In addition to this, This matter went to court. And the government of Imo State asked for time out to have these issues amicably resolved with organized labor. And when the time was up, we wrote, say, this time that you asked for has expired. Why don't we have this? Even before that time, we kept reminding the state. Nothing. Silence. Until time was completely up. And when the government was reminded by us, I think the court also did, the response of the state government, in writing as I tell you, was that they were too busy working, that they remembered that they had such an agreement. So clearly, there was no commitment to primary agreements, to secondary agreements, to tertiary agreements, no commitment to honoring them. Coupled with that, there was continuous violation of other rights. So this made inevitable, the proposed protest action. And we sent out notice. If by the time, by so time, you are still unable to have these issues resolved with us, we will be in Imo to peacefully protest. And so we went to Imo on a Tuesday, I think that was 31st of October, to begin our protest in Owerri. Early in the morning, the president of the Congress, Comrade Joe Ajaero, while waiting for his colleagues in the council, in our own council office, to come in, a convoy of security personnel of not less than 10 trucks, with even gun trucks, abducted him, hooded him, beat him up, took him to an unknown destination, and further tortured him. By the time we made contact with him at 3:30, it was in a police hospital in Imo State. And you didn't need anyone to tell you his shape. At the right eye, I think it was the right eye, was all shot, puffed, black, dry trace of blood from the ear, and he was physically and psychologically disoriented. He could not move without support. A recognition was out of it. He could not easily recognize people around. So the situation was so bad that he had to be moved from there to the Federal Medical Center in Owerri. I was one of those who made early contact here with him. And we moved him to the medical center. At the center, on further examination, he was fitted with a neck collar immediately because of the perceived belief that he must have received some injury pertaining to the spinal cord. I wouldn't know the degree of that, but he was further referred for brain head scan, chest X-ray, full body scan, and something pertaining to the neck, to the spine. I can't remember those details now. And we said, how could you have done this to anybody, even a common felon? So we said, apprehend the security personnel who did this to this man. Even if he was violating any law, let alone he wasn't committing any law, it was not up to them to take the law onto their hands. We say, apprehend them, prosecute them. We need an apology and all of that. Not a word came from not a positive word came from the government of Imo State. None came from the federal government whose agents committed these atrocities, obviously at the instance of Imo State government. And we have reason to believe the federal government also has a hand in it, had a hand in it. So we even heard that there were pleasantries exchanged for the fact that Joe had been abducted and beaten, tortured, and humiliated. So we gave an ultimatum. if by so time, I mean, the civil rights accrued to this gentleman were not met, we will go on an indefinite strike action. And we did. That's the summary of what has happened.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Chief Suleiman, could you share your thoughts on this strike? Not just as a leader, but as an everyday Nigerian who was affected by it as well.
Yeah. Thank you, Didi. You see, the state of our nation on this is quite unfortunate because to me, the workers of which the labor represents are losing confidence from the organized labor. Reason is the magnitude of reaction to this unfortunate incident that happened in Imo was very low. In short, it seemed as if the laborers were just begging others to join or people are just following. We are losing out. We are losing everything in this country, and we don't have any country apart from this very one. So the situation, both the government and the labor, I think they are all missing it. I don't know where our hope will come from. If a common man does not have a body like labor respected at high esteem, this cannot happen out of this country and for the situation to remain like this. I'm telling you, this is something that everybody in every corner must supposed to react over it. In fact, it will not even start. They will not even start it. So my concern now, why is labor losing respect? Does it mean that they are not up to their commitments? Are they really doing the needful? Are they really representing the interests of the common man, that common worker? Are they really fighting for that common man? Because if they are fighting and committed to that common worker, I bet you the atmosphere will not be like this. The executive cannot humiliate labor like this because labor and judiciary are our final hope. That is what will redeem you as a citizen. That is what will give you that nationhood spirit that, okay, this is my, because they are the guiders. They are the one to protect your right, violation of your right, violation. In fact, they will advise, the judiciary will guide and question the executive on every human right. The labor will also promote the social, economic, and whatsoever privilege and rights that accrue to any worker. But you can see today, I have never had cases won in court against private companies because of right of a company worker was violated. Actually, you can only hear them in human rights radios or whatsoever. So I think the labor need to wake up. The labor need to re-strategize itself on how to win the heart of Nigeria. On the executives, no one is caring about anything. Orientation, no orientation is taking place now. When we were kids, anything that will happen at national level, you will hear it even in the rural areas. So you see, I don't know where we are going. We have a serious problem, Didi. I think the hope now, something just have to happen. Maybe I'm advocating that maybe traditional institution will be given an arm. Maybe we can redeem this very sense of our country, because up to today we are the only sector that up to today we face reality, we face the general situation, and we address it as it comes. So I think the problem we are facing now, we the traditional institution, usually we supposed to write to the labor, to the trade union, TUC, to the judiciary, in order to about the right of our people. You understand? But we don't have that confidence, because we don't feel that, okay, if you reach them, they will take care of this problem. So most of our senior citizens in rural areas, I'm telling you, we are losing them as the result of technicality in litigation. Somebody will just come, an old man that has his farm, if he don't have economic privilege, somebody will just come and claim his farmland. They will delay the judgment with technicalities. Before you know, the person has slung and died.
Suleiman, there's something you mentioned about the people, the general public, losing hope in labor. And Comrade, I would like you to come in there. It actually leads me to my next question, because I watched the news over the week, and I saw that some of your union members, some civil servants, were against this strike, were against this protest. They even said they were not going to join, and that the labor has become partisan. I would like you to speak on that, because they say the reason for the strike is not reason enough, that they expected labor to go on strike way before this incident even happened, due to the high cost of living, the hike in fuel prices, unpaid wages, and all of that. So could you speak on that? Could you speak on this disappointment based on about the civil servants and other union members?
Thank you, Didi. So, first, let me commend my colleague here for speaking to the issues of institutional failure in our democracy. He also included organized labor. Well, I will not here at this forum say that organized labor is part of that failure, while I recognize the fact that we have had institutional failure across board. I would not say labor is part of that failure. One is that organized labor has persuasive powers, not executive powers. The rights that accrue to labor, the rights of protest, those rights are available to every citizen, you and I. There is nowhere it is written that only organized labor will protest for and on your behalf. In Kenya, I'm going to cite examples that are closer home. Perhaps I should start with Europe, Germany, UK, Paris, France, US, where citizens went onto the street as a result of the rise in cost of living. Those citizens were not led by labor unions. They were led by citizens who held no positions in the unions, but they felt sufficiently strong enough to say, government, the direction you are going is not good for us. But here in Nigeria, everybody loves their skin too much. When something goes wrong, they say labor. When labor goes forth and wins that battle, some are grateful enough to acknowledge that most often Nigerians operate from the perspective of selective amnesia. They forget what role labor may have played, either covertly or overtly, to have won them a reprieve. And I'm going to give you an example. But for organized labor, you would have started paying 2,000 naira per liter a long time ago. It's labor. there have been other issues because labor remains, as I speak with you, in spite of its possible frailties, because it is a human organization. Only God is not frail. Every other individual, every other organization, practically speaking, are frail. So in spite of its frailties or perceived frailties, labor has performed incredibly well. It is the biggest pan-Nigerian organization. Do you understand? It is one that is never partisan on issues. No matter what interpretations people might read to whatever. He made a point which I actually find very, 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 I find it quite appropriate. He said Nigerians at a point were angry with labor. Why were Nigerians angry with labor? Simply because we showed a remarkable understanding of government that said, wait, we're going to have a discussion. Because we believed, we trusted this government that it will keep to its words. But right from day 1, 29th of May, when government announced the removal of subsidy, it's been a shift in goalpost to another goalpost. We didn't believe in strike as a first option because we had faith in the government to deliver on the promises it made. And as a response to the insulting press statement issued by Bayo Onanuga, we said in part, and I'm going to read a part of this here, if Onanuga were not suffering from selective amnesia, he ought to have known that this government should remain grateful to the organized labor for its uncommon patience with a government that clearly was not prepared for the consequences of its fundamentalist market policies of massive currency devaluation and subsidy removal, which imposed on Nigerians social violence, upheaval, dislocation, displacement, or punishment they never before experienced. Onanuga similarly ought to have known that organized labor, by not opting for a strike as a first option, acted as a bulwark against the rage of Nigerians, thereby saving this government from itself. Organized labor is not unaware of the misdirected anger of Nigerians for not going for the jugular of this government for justifiable reasons. Inflation moved from 19% to 29%. Exchange rate from 400 naira to 1,000 naira, 1,300 naira. And pump price of PMS from 187 naira to 700 naira in the first 5 months of this government. We said that in response to Onanuga. So I clearly understand the perspective from where it's coming, that yes, people felt, yes, we should have hit this government much earlier. But because we trusted, we believed that government was going to act in good faith, and it never did act in good faith. It's been a tale of promises and promises. But don't forget, too, what the government did in beating up, brutalizing an innocent citizen is not a lesser crime. In democracy, the importance of your personal liberty, my personal liberty, can never be overestimated. What they did was tampering in a very, very vicious and unrepentant manner the personal liberty of one of our own, okay? And it was not just Ajero who was being assaulted and battered. It was you and I, because if the state, and what they did was, what the state did was the height of impunity. And let me say this, if the state could pick on a profile as high as the president of NLC, it tells you the level of danger that you and I, everybody here that is in. It means that they can just smash us like hogs and get away. So, the state was was acting not only with impunity, it was actually visiting terror on its citizenry, which is even more threatening to our democracy, or as serious as the economic issues, okay? I mean, that I've just read from it. That is the massive devaluation, the exchange rate, and all of that. So our personal liberty is second to none. And so it was sufficient reason for us to say no. Because you remember this poem, that, I mean, for those who are saying, oh, it's selfish to go for a strike because somebody has been beaten. In the first place, it was not only because of that beating, the issues in Imo were and are still unresolved. The beating was just a trigger, okay? So those who believe that the beating and humiliation of the Congress president was a personal affair must be out of their minds. And I will advert them to this poem, that when they came for the socialists, I said I was not a socialist. When they came for the teachers, I said I was not a teacher. When they came for the Jews, they said I was not a Jew. When they came for me, there was no one left to shout. I've just given a summary of that poem and so forth.
Okay,
so now coming to the issue of political undertone, let me just explain this, that people say that there were partisan motives in our going to Imo. Let me explain this. That from the year 2021 to 2023 is 2 years, isn't it? Mm-hmm. The issues of non-payment of pensions, of wages, pensions, the issues of assaults on the secretariat of NLC in Imo. If you go there, it's there. The governor sent talk. They pulled down virtually everything, smashed everything, and the issue of government saying, I must determine who your executives are. Those are serious issues. The issues of non-payment of salaries and pensions are issues that move from second to second. I've always said that the stomach clock does not recognize our political clock or political calendar. Yeah. So people we are now still hungry, and you are saying we should wait until the elections are over. When the governor would have felt secured and behaved like a seven-headed spirit, we didn't recognize that political calendar.
Comrade, we have to go. But before we go, yes. Suleiman, so what's the way forward now?
The way forward, yes. In this, I think all of us, all Nigerians have to wake up from what and reason and re-strategize or rethink about our Nigeria of tomorrow. A situation where, just as he said, Labour president can be brutalized as this, and nothing happened. And at the part of the Labour Congress, okay, after the action, 2 days, we have called off the strike. So they did not hold the government accountable. They did not enforce. What is Labour? Labour are enforcers. They are social enforcers. You understand? Mm. So their inability to stand and emphasize for the right thing to be done is what is killing all of us. Because if Labour, at its position, as its backup, as that is recognized all over the world, can be brutalized like this, tell me, Dangote, Atedora, who will attempt to do that and be alive?
Suleiman, I understand where you're coming from, and I really hope for the best.
Yes.
And from the NLC, we'll keep watching, yes. And we'll like to see your next move.
Yes. In fact, first of all, let me tell you, did you see, people keep accusing us of partisanship, but it's deliberate mischief. we have always been part of the political struggle of this country. We were part of the frontline struggle for this independence, including that strike that broke the back of the British, known as COLA, Cost of Living Allowance strike. So we played a leading role in getting independence for this country. We also played a leading role in getting the military back to the barracks. Most of the beneficiaries of this democracy as we have it today were either playing complicitous role with the military, or we are nowhere to be found. We won for us this a democracy. If Labour has said, okay, we are moving to the next level, we want to float a political party, there is nothing criminal about that. As I speak with you, we have Labour Party in UK. We had a president, Chiluba, a Labour president, who became president of his country. As I speak with you, Lula of Brazil. Let me tell you this. Let me tell you something.
Comrade, we've run out of time.
Nigerian Labour Congress is not running the Labour Party and it doesn't know what the Labour Party does. But that is what it has sympathy for the party. So when people say, that we are partisan.
Comrade, you know what? We'll bring you back to discuss this further because I'm really interested in this.
Yes.
We'll bring you back to discuss this further. But we'll
have no partisan consideration for anything. All we want is good governance for this country, and that these citizens deserve more.
We'll talk about that. And yes, I agree with you. We need good governance.
You can see,
that's where it starts from.
Yes. Yeah. No, you can't even hear him.
So that's it for the lifestyle segment. We'll bring you more on the weekend show. Do stay with us.